Good morning, participants. Welcome back to day 3, session 1. Here we have eminent personality, Mr.M.Mruthyunjaya. He is expert in Node-Red. Before going to the session, I request Dr. Aisha Banu Madam to introduce Mr. Mruthyunjaya sir. Please, Madam, go ahead.
Am I audible, sir? Krishna, sir, am I audible? Sir, am I audible?
Yes, audible.
Yeah, good morning, one and yeah, good morning to all the participants. Welcome to the third day session of Atal FDP on IoT. I take the privilege of introducing today's speaker, Mr. M. Mruthyunjaya sir, who has a 15 plus years of experience as a technology trainer. Sir has trained numerous corporate batches of Cognizant, Wipro, Accenture, ATOS. He is expertised in Microsoft.NET, Python programming, Amazon Web Services. Sir has been working as a freelancer from 2006 to 16, later joined the prestigious task Telangana Academy for Skill and Knowledge as a full-time trainer and worked there till 2019. To his credit, he has trained and certified numerous batches on MTA SDF.NET, MTA HTML5, and MTA DBF. Sir has developed the content for Manipal Academy of Global
Hello,
Education, Bangalore. He has
Vasu
multiple
Krishna,
knowledge
video of this
certifications
person is
from
not, resource person is
Microsoft,
not available
Oracle,
with us.
HackerRank, and Amazon Web Services. At present, Sir is working as an assistant professor in Sumati Reddy Institute of Technology for Women. Sir, we are very much pleased to have you as our resource person for the morning session. Welcome, sir, and over to you.
Thank you, ma'am. Hope I am audible. Thank you, Dr. Aisha, madam, and Dr. Krishna, sir. Yeah, one of the participants was trying to ask something. Hope it's good time to start with the session. Let's start with the session. I would like to present my screen. Okay. Morning participants, welcome to the today's session. And it's me, Mruthyunjaya. I'm here to share some knowledge related to the knowledge Node-Red. Here, Node-Red is a visual tool for wiring the Internet of Things. See why we need Node-Red. In general, there is no one-size-fits-all solution for Internet of Things. The Internet of Things does not have a one-size-fits-all solution. So for that, Internet of Things solutions often require pulling together different device APIs and online services in a new and interesting ways, so that we can connect different things through internet and automate the process. For that, we need different API integration along with the online services. Hence, we need some tools to make it easier for developers at all levels to bring together the different streams of events, both physical and digital, that make up the Internet of Things. So, in order to do such integration and communicate to the things over the internet using different devices and event-based process, we'll be going for Node-Red. So what is Node-Red? Node-Red is a programming tool for wiring together hardware devices, APIs, application programming interfaces, and online services in new and interesting ways. Node-Red is a flow-based tool, like how the message is being passed across different nodes to get the desired outcome. So Node-Red will help you in getting that flow, and hence we call it as a flow-based tool and IoT dashboard developed by IBM and written in Node.js. It is purely written in Node.js. Node.js is one of the framework of JavaScript, and it's an open source project. Node-Red is an open source project. It provides a browser-based editor that makes it easy to wire together flows using the wide range of nodes in the palette. Palette is a place where all these nodes will be residing that can be deployed to its runtime in a single click. So palette is a place where all these nodes would be residing, and we will be taking those nodes to the workspace from the palette. And Node-Red lets you easily create program flows by joining together the black box functions using a web interface. And where we can install this Node-Red? Node-Red can be installed onto a Windows machine, Linux machine, or a Mac as well. So what are the prerequisites for installing the Node-Red software, and what are the steps involved? These are only 3 steps for getting the Node-Red to bring the Node-Red onto the working condition on your machine. So let me quickly demonstrate. You can see running on Windows. What is the first step? First step is to install the Node.js. Installing Node.js, it's like Node.js is available on nodejs.org. Here you can see this is the Windows downloadable version, and based on your machine you can get onto the from downloads. Okay, and here I'm demonstrating related to the Windows. I am not going to perform any kind of installation, just I would like to illustrate you the steps which will really help you to get started. And they are very easy steps. Just you can click on this, and so that a Microsoft installer package will be downloaded, where you can it's a plug and play software. You can install it onto your machine. After installing the Node.js, the next step we need to check whether the version of the, what is the version of the node and node packet manager. For that, I'll show you how to check. I'm opening the command prompt as an administrator. You can see here. Here I'm going to check the node version, Node.js version available on my machine. So to get the node version available on my machine, I would be typing node --version. And then if you press enter, you'll be getting the version of the Node.js. You can see in the earlier window, what is the version? 16.13.0, right? And coming to my version, 12.16.2. It's a little older version. That's it, right? Next, I would like to get even Node Packet Manager in PM version. Right. And I would like to press enter. So this is the version of the Node Packet Manager. Later, after knowing the versions, now next step is to install the Node-Red. So installing the Node-Red, if you type this particular command on the command prompt, Node-Red gets installed in few minutes. So once the Node-Red is installed, I have already installed, so I am not performing again. Once the Node-Red is installed, simple, same command, if you type here, the Node-Red will be installed. No complications at all, right? Later, I would like to open the Node-Red. How to open the Node-Red? Just type node-red. That's it. And press enter. The Node-Red will be open. So before opening the Node-Red, see here, it will give you the version. Node-Red version is 2.1.3. Node.js version, just now we have seen. What is the version? Version 12.16.2, right? The same version is getting displayed here. And later it is loading all the nodes onto the palette, and it's ready. It has loaded and it's ready. See, server now starting at where it is starting, http://127.0.0.1. It's nothing but a local host, and your Node-Red is running at the port 1880. So if you want to visualize the Node-Red, just you can type http://localhost:1800 and just press enter. Your Node-Red will be ready, right? I'm closing all the flows. So this is the Node-Red user interface, and you can see all the nodes available here, right? There are many nodes available, and we'll be looking at few core nodes which we frequently use, and which are easy to demonstrate with the default installation. Let's go ahead. So what are the core nodes? The core nodes listed here. Here, the Node-Red palette includes a default set of nodes that are the basic building blocks for creating flows. And here we demonstrate the highlights of the core set, which you should know about. All nodes include documentation. You can see in the info sidebar tab when you select the node. Here I listed few nodes: inject, debug, function, change, switch, and template nodes. Coming to inject node. The inject node can be used to manually trigger a flow by clicking the nodes button within the editor. It can be used to automatically trigger flows at regular intervals also. Let's get on to the Node-Red user interface and see. Can you see? This is the inject. This is the inject. Can you see? injects a message in a flow either manually or at regular intervals. The message payload can be a variety of types, including strings, JavaScript objects, or the current time. If you take it onto the workspace, let me take a flow. Right. I'm taking a flow, which is a workspace onto which you can drag and drop this inject node. And if you want to know the detailed information about this node, just click on information button. While clicking on the information button, your node should be highlighted. After highlighting the node, you just go and click on the information pane. You'll see okay, right. Later, yeah, can you see there? Inject. Related to inject, under the help button, you can see it's a help button. When you click on the help button, you can see the detailed information about the inject node. So injects a message into a flow either manually or regular intervals, and it has a outputs, payload, and topic. Payload is a configured payload of a message. What are the message you've sent is considered as a payload, and the topic is an optional property that can be configured for the node. And coming to the details, you have a few details here, right? So for every node, you'll have such information available. I'm also taking this way we can get to know about the inject node. The message sent by the inject node can have its payload and a topic property set. The payload can be set to a variety of different types, like a flow or a global context property value, or a string, a number, boolean, buffer or object, a timestamp. It can be anything. Okay. And since Node-Red 1.1, the inject node can now set any property on the message. So any property you can set for inject. Coming to the debug. Debug is also one of the important nodes. Here in the UI, you can see the debug. Can you see? So here is a message. Here is the detailed information related to the debug node. If you don't want these nodes, you can select and click on delete. That's it. If you want, you can take it. If you don't want, you can select and click on the delete button. They will be deleted. Right. So what debug does? The debug node can be used to display messages in the debug sidebar within the editor. So I'll show you how it will display the messages in the debug sidebar within the editor. The sidebar provides a structured view of the messages and it is sent, making it easier to explore the message. Along alongside of each message, the debug sidebar includes information about the time the message was received and which debug node sent it. And click on the source node ID will reveal the node within the workspace. The button on the node can be used to enable or disable its output. It is recommended to disable or remove any debug nodes that are not being used. And the node can also be configured to send all messages to the runtime log or to send the short 32 characters to the status text under the debug node. So let me demonstrate you now how the inject node as well as how the inject node along with the debug node works. Okay. Somebody's on unmute. Somebody's on unmute. Admin, could you please mute them?
Yes, madam. Prashanti madam, please mute yourself, please. Prashanti madam.
How do you know ma'am అన్నది? I know
Prashanti
అన్నారు.
madam, please mute
అన్న
yourself.
తర్వాత how ma'am అన్నది. I have seen in
Madam,
Chinti akka
Prashanti
status
madam,
అని అంటే
please mute
చింతి
yourself.
చింతి నానమ్మన
Do you
అమ్మమ్మన
don't have?
Yeah, wait. We have control. Wait, sir.
అమ్మమ్మ అరుణ
Okay. Go ahead, sir, please.
Okay.
Sorry for the interruption.
No issues. Thank you, sir. Let's discuss a little a simple demo which will demonstrate how the inject node and the debug node work together. Now you can see in the workspace you have inject node as well as the debug node. First, let me configure the inject node. When I double click on the inject node, you can see here a properties window has opened for you. And you can see here, as I just now explained you, the payload and the topic. Payload is a mandatory property and the topic is an optional property. Now here, in the payload, I would like to give a string saying that yes, hello world. Next, I'm clicking on done. I would like to wire the inject node to the debug node. So wiring will happen like this. Take your mouse onto this highlighted, and then the node you can see here, right, which will connect the inject node to the debug node. So you drag your mouse, you can see a wire is getting connected, right? Yeah. Simple, this way you can connect the inject node to the debug node. After connecting, you click on after connecting, just go to the deploy on the right hand side top corner. You have deploy button, right? Unless and until you deploy, you will not be able to get the outcome. So you deploy it. When you click on the deploy, you have got the message successfully deployed, right? Now you go and click on the inject node. Yes, successfully injected hello world, you can see, right? Okay. When you go to the debug pane, can you see here debug messages? I was telling you, we can see the deployed messages, debug messages. What are the messages you are injecting through the inject node in the debug node window. When I click on the debug window, can you see the message hello world? It's getting printed, right? At what time? You can see the timestamp. Fine. This way, again, if you click on the inject node, you can see again hello world is getting printed. Can you see? So we are injecting a hello world text and the debug node is getting printed onto the debug window. Okay. Here, if you go there, can you see? Here, I see again, I'm double clicking on the inject node, double click. You can see the inject node properties. In these properties, you can see a repeat property at the bottom left hand side, right? You can repeat at a regular interval or interval between times or at specific time. At regular interval, you can see every 1 second. Okay, I want to print hello world every 1 second. So I'm saying done. Now after that, I've made the changes, right? After making changes, again you need to deploy to make the changes effective. Now the changes are effective. It's successfully deployed. Now let's go and inject hello world. So when you don't need to inject, see, it started executing at regular intervals. Can you see? 59 again. See, every 1 second the message is getting printed, right? Okay. If you don't want, you can stop here. You click here. Yeah, successfully deactivated debug. So the node is deactivated, right? So this way we can work with the inject node and debug nodes together. Hope you're following. So let me go ahead. It's a function node. The function node allows JavaScript code to be run against the messages that are passed through it. So let me take a function also, function node, and see that how it will work with my current demo. So let's go back to the Node-Red. Here I would like to take function. Instead of that, I can take another flow, a new one. I would like to take a inject node. Let me write some text here. String. Hello participants. Welcome to Node-Red. Some text I have given. Then I would like to go for click on done. Later, I would like to take a function. You can see here is a category of nodes. You can see common, right? Function, and the function you have some set of nodes, and a network you have some set of nodes. MQTT, what does MQTT stands for? It's a message queue telemetry transport. What does this telemetry stand for? It's a process of recording and transmitting the readings of an instrument. Okay, so message queuing the reading of the readings of an instrument, and we call MQTT as a lightweight open messaging protocol that provides resource constrained network clients with a simple way to distribute telemetry information in low bandwidth environments. Okay. So I'm also taking a function here. There are some sequences, a lot of things are there, right? In addition to that, we can have the additional nodes also to make available with some patches installed, but we are not going to look into that. I have taken a function now, later a debug node, right? Here I would like to already some messages we have taken, right? What is the message? Yeah, payload message is hello participants, welcome to Node-Red. Okay. Here I would like to add interval. You see, repeat interval. Before taking the interval, let me even explain you how you can inject a message interval between times also, like say from so and so time to so and so time. Okay, every 5 minutes you want to send a message. During the weekdays or weekends, you can make it possible. You can automate sending of messages, or at specific time every day at morning 8 o'clock you want to push some message, except during weekends. So you can uncheck these weekends, and you can consider only those 5 days and push this message, specific message. Even that way also you can do. So now I'm going to take it only interval at a specific every 3 seconds I would like to print a message. Done. Okay. Now the properties for the inject node is set. It's time for us to look into the function node. So function node, if you click on here, it will display you what is a function node. A function node, a JavaScript function to run against messages being received by the node. The messages are passed in a JavaScript object called message, and the message.payload is the property we have. Okay, this is the documentation related to function. Right. So when I double click on the function, you can see a editable area is popped out where you can write some code. I would like to write some code which will display time along with the message. Okay, let's see where date now is equal to new date. Later, JavaScript code I'm writing, and I'm taking one more variable, time as string, equal to date now dot to local entity. Here I'm calling a date function so that date will be available in the variable, and from that date I'm trying to get two local time string, only time string. Date contains date and time, right? But I want only time. So hence I'm writing two local time string, which will help me in getting only time from that. After getting the time, I would like to concatenate along with my payload. Here you can see, just a second. Here you can see, what is that? Message.payload, right? Message.payload has this particular string. And so to this string, I would like to concatenate with the function time. How to do that? Message.payload equal to message.payload as time is. Time is. Let's give some space and concatenate time as string. Right. Fine. So writing of function is done. What this function is doing? It's simply getting the time, initially fetching the date, and from the date it's fetching only time and storing into time as string variable, and I am concatenating time as string variable with the already given message in the inject node. So what is my expectation? The message along with the time is and time has to be displayed is my outcome. Let me say done. Right. My function is defined properly. Now I need to wire up. I need to wire up the inject node to the function. Later, I need to wire up the function to the debug node. If you don't want these wires, just select and delete. Select and delete. So like this, you can remove the wiring as well as the nodes which are not required on the workspace. So let's again rewire. Fine. After connecting, now it's time to deploy. So let me deploy it. When I click on the deploy button, it is successfully deployed. Okay. And let me look into the debug menu. What's happening? Anything going on? No. So let me click on the inject node. inject successful. And click on payload. You see, it's printing, right? It has printed till here. Once again, let me demonstrate again. I'm deploying. Once it is deployed, what's happening? Nothing is getting displayed, right? When you click on inject node, you can see it's printing the messages. Let me restart the workflows. Okay, I have restarted the workflows, and okay, right, it's displaying. See, can you see? Every 3 seconds, 9, 12, 15. So every 3 seconds, it keeps on displaying, and you can see, right? And if you don't require it, you can immediately click on this node so that it will be deactivated. It stopped, right? Okay. So now, hope you understood how function is working along with the inject node and debug node. Let's continue. Let's look into the change node. The change node can be used to modify a message properties and set context properties without having to resort to a function node. Like you can change the values. Each node can be configured with multiple operations that are applied in order. And the available operations are set, change, move, and delete. What set does? Set uses to set a property. The value can be a variety of different types or can be taken from an existing message or context property. And coming to change, search and replaces part of the message property. It will change the actual message to something else. And coming to move, it will move or completely rename a property. And for deleting a property, we'll be using delete. And when setting a property, the value can also be the result of a JSON data expression. What is this JSON data expression? JSON data is a declarative query and a transformation language for JSON data. Okay, JSON stands for JavaScript Object Notation. So let us visualize the visualization of the change node looks like this. And when you take onto the Node-Red, so let us take it onto the Node-Red. Let me take a new flow. For the new flow, I would like to take the change node. Change node is used, it can be used to modify messages properties, right? Okay. So for that, I would like to take a inject node. So where is the change node? See, right here is the change, right? Okay, if you click on that, can you see what you can set, change, delete, or move properties of a message, flow context, or global context. If you want detailed information, you click on here, info button. You'll be able to see help, detailed information, right? So I would like to take even change. Right. First, let me go to inject. Here inject, I would like to say number. I would like to give a number 8. Right. And say done. I would like to go to the change and set the change. Can you see? Set payload to the value. To which value you want to set? 8. I would like to give 800. So 8, I want to change it to 800. Likewise, you have various change, delete, move properties also. And here, I would like to take a debug node, and also I would like to take one more debug node. Oh, just a second. Right. So let me right. I've changed the value to 800. Right. Let wire up. I'm wiring it to the change. Right. Okay. Next, I'm wiring the same to the debug node, and I'm wiring the change to the debug node. What we have done now? How the wiring is done? Here, inject node is wired to change node, and change node is wired to debug node, and also the inject node is directly wired to debug node. Fine. Here, what is it? When I debug, I should get two outputs. One output is 8 directly. 8 is injected, so 8 you will be getting, and one more output. 8 is injected, but the change is happening to 800, and 800 you are getting, right? So let's deploy it. It's deployed, and let us look at the debug messages. Right. I'm clicking on the inject node to inject the value 8 to the flow. Can you see? You're getting 8 and 800, right? Here 800 is termed as a string. So let us make the necessary changes. Click on, and here A to Z, right? You change it to the number. When you change it to the number, it will not be displayed as a string. Like this here, message.payload, it's a number, right? The same changes will happen here as a number. Likewise, you have various data, right? Done. So now let's click on again. After making the changes, it's always recommended or strongly recommended to go with again deployment. So click on deploy, right? And here click on the anything. Now message payload is number. Message payload is also number. It's 8 and it is 800. So different outputs. 8 is getting changed to 800 in one flow, and 8 is getting printed as 8 in another flow. Fine. Just a second. Okay. Let's look at a few other properties also for the change. Here, change instead of set, change. If you click payload, I would like to give other message. Search for hello and replace with good morning. This is a change I would like to make. In order to make this change, I need to inject instead of number, I need to inject a string. What string? Hello participants. Right. Welcome. Right. Fine. So let's see what happens. Let me deploy now. I would like to deploy. It's successfully deployed. And let me click on the inject button to inject the message. Yes, can you see? Now you can see here, hello participants, welcome. And this is the actual string. The after change, what is happening? Good morning participants, welcome. Right? So that is a change you can observe. So this way we can make the changes. Let's look into move also. Move payload message to a new message. Okay. Hey, we are learning. We are learning change mode. Right. Done. After making the changes, so hope you understand where we are making the changes. You double click, a properties window is open for you, and here you have a drop down. Initially we have discussed set, later discussed change, now we are discussing move, right? In move, the payload message has to be moved to a we are learning change node. Now it's time for us to deploy. So go to the right top corner. There is a deploy button. Click on the deploy button. When you click on the deploy button, what's happening? The flow is ready. And you click on the inject node. It's saying undefined. Okay. Message payload undefined. Once again. Okay. Right. This way we can load information payload. Okay. This is how it works. The change node, which contains set, change, move, and delete. Okay. It is looking for a property. Move is looking for a property to be renamed. We don't have any properties given here, so let's go ahead with another node. What is that? Switch node. The switch node allows messages to be routed to different branches of a flow by evaluating a set of rules against each message. Here, the switch node comes with the switch statement. The name switch comes with a switch statement that is common to many programming languages. It is not a reference to a physical switch. The node is configured with the property to test, which can be either a message property or a context property. The switch node will be like this here. Let me take another flow. If I type here switch node, right? You can see the switch node. What it does, route messages based on their property value or sequence position. And again, if you click on the info button, the help, you can see the detailed documentation related to the switch. So in order to demonstrate switch, I would like to take a inject node, then a switch node, right? And a debug nodes. So what are the nodes are required? Initially, you would be taking onto the right. Now let's set the properties of every node. I would like to set the property of the inject node initially. Here, message payload, I would like to take some value, a number, let's say 8, right? 8. Message topic, timestamp, fine. Later, go to the switch node. When you click on the switch node, here you can give some name to the switch node, like node ID, right? And I would like to set the property. Here I would like to have 3 comparisons. First, less than 10. Okay, less than 10. Later, I would like to add few more comparisons, few more switches. Simply saying, but here, see, can you see the add an item button at the bottom. So if you click on add an item bottom, see add button, item will be added. So here I'm making greater than. There are a lot of comparisons, right? Can you see? Contains, is null, is empty, sequence rules, JSON data expression, right? Head, tail, many things are there. But here I'm only using the comparison operators. I'm going for greater than 10, and one more equal to 10. I would like to give equal to 10. So different three different connections I'm making. Done. Can you see? Here you have three different nodes to the switch node. So I can connect this less than 10 node to one debug node. Before connecting, let me give a name for less than 10, right? Again, double click on the debug node, second debug node, and give greater than 10. Later, double click on the third node and give equal to 10. Okay. So now all set. What we have been doing for inject node, we were giving a number injection, right? Number 8 has injected. Fine. Later, to the switch node, I've set the properties with the less than 10, greater than 10. What are the injected value? Is it greater than 10 or less than 10 or equal to 10? So based on the value injected, the respective node gets executed. It's like 8 you are injecting, 8 is less than 10, right? So this particular debug node, you will get output. If it is 10, you will get the output here. If it is greater than 10, it's like the value is 20. You will be getting greater than 10 output in the debug window. So let us visualize. Before visualizing, before deploying, we need to wire up them, right? So let us wire up. I'm wiring up the inject node to the switch node. Then I'm wiring up the switch node. There are three nodes, right? Three different nodes for three different purposes. So here, if you point there, it is visible, and you just wire up to the related debug node. Here also, you wire up to the related debug node. Fine. This one also wire up to the related debug node. That's it. Now all set, wiring is done. It's time for us to deploy it. Let's go and deploy. It's successfully deployed, right? And when you inject, let's go to the debug window, debug messages, and click on what is it? Yeah. Let me deploy. It's successfully deployed. And let me, oh yes, now I can see the button. This button was not visible so far, so now it is visible. Right. Okay. So let's deploy it again. Yeah, successfully deployed. Now go and click here to inject the value 8. When you inject the value 8, what happens? What is the expected outcome? Anybody? Anybody? What is the expected outcome? Okay. So I'm clicking on. Can you see? Message payload number 8. What is the node here? Node less than 10. 8 you are injecting, you are getting the output at node less than 10. Can you see there? And it is highlighted also. Can you see? A dotted border. Okay, this time I would like to inject some other value. Let me inject 20. Right? After injecting 20, let's deploy. Now I am injecting value 20. After making the changes, let's inject. Can you see? Now you can see the node. Which node you are getting? Node greater than 10. The value is 20, right? Similarly, I would like to now make the changes. Exactly 10 I would like to give. And again deploy. You can see node is equal to 10. So this particular node. So it is switching, like it's functioning like a switch case in programming, right? Fine. So that is all about the switch case. So switch node. There are 4 types of rules. What are they? Value rules are evaluated against the configured property. Sequence rules can be used on message queue sequences, such as those generated by the split nodes. And a JSON data expression can be provided that will be evaluated against the whole message and will match if the expression returns a true value. An otherwise rule also can be used to match if none of the preceding rules have matched. So here are the rules. Can you see? If you double click on the node, checking all rules, right? So what kind of rules it is checking? Sequence rules. Can you see? These are the sequence rules. These are the value rules, right? Otherwise you have, right? Otherwise, yeah, this is the otherwise rule, sequence rule, and the value rules. These are all the value rules which come under the greater than, less than, is between, contains. All these comes under value rules. Even you can have a matches with the regular expression. So that way we can work with the switch node. Coming to the template. The template node can be used to generate text using a messages properties to fill out a template. And it uses a mustache templating language to generate the result. It's like this. For example, this is the payload. it looks like this. Okay, will replace payload with the value of the message payload property, and by default, mustache will replace certain characters with their HTML escape nodes, escape codes. To stop that happening, you can use triple braces. Double braces you can use, or even triple braces also you can use to avoid HTML code escapes. So first let me demonstrate the template here. I'm taking a new flow. After that we will be creating a one workflow. Right. So let me take a inject node. Here I am giving some string. Message topic is a test. It's a test text message. So I would like to go for a template, right? Function also I'm taking, and debug node. So here function I would like to write some code where equal to prof. Let's say this thing. So it will return that message. Let's give that message only. Done. It's not set. See, when you get this triangle symbol, it's like it has some error. Okay, can you see invalid properties, some error? So you need to check. See, I got an error. Otherwise, I would like to write the same piece of code, like getting the date. Let's write a piece of code where we can get the date. Date now. And, new date. And where times as string. So date no dot string message payload equal to message dot payload plus some spacing I would like to give and write time as string. Let's say done. Yeah. Now the triangle is gone, right? Okay. Let's template. Can you see? This is a payload, right? Yeah. I would like to wire up them. Let me wire up them. Function and function to the HTML template. HTML template to the out. Right. So this way wiring is done. Let's understand the flow. The text message takes some modification through function. The time is added to the function to the text, and later it is pushed to the template, HTML template, where you can see the output. Okay. It will transform to the HTML text kind of thing. Let's go and deploy. Yes. After deploying, let's go to the debug window. Oh. Yeah, here's the window. Debug window, right? Yeah. Click on pushing the message. Time as string is not a function. Okay. So time as string is not a function. Let's go there. Sorry, it's not a function. It's a it is a variable, right? And I mentioned it as a function by brackets, parentheses. So let's give semicolon, right? Say done. So always errors are good, which gives us more debugging knowledge, right? Let's deploy. Yeah, it's done. You now go and click on the inject node. Right. Let's get to the debug menu. This is a payload text message. Can you see? This is a payload text message. It's getting displayed. Can you see? What is the text message? This is the whole thing you're getting displayed. Right? I said only two string. I didn't say the two local string, right? Two local time string I didn't set. If I said two local time string, only time you would be getting, as demonstrated earlier in the earlier example. But we were trying to fetch only the whole date and time, and it is getting displayed like this. Wednesday, November 10th, 2021. The time is 11:14:15 seconds, and Greenwich Mean Time is 5:30, right? The standard IST time. This payload message you will be getting. Of course, we can more customize by taking a scrollable message and taking the messages onto the dashboard. Put all those set of messages. We can give a count. A huge function need to be written. A 40 lines of code need to be written to get it done. As well as in scrollable template also HTML piece of code need to be written, where we can have all this set of 10 messages as a count onto the dashboard, right? Later, let us look into a simple example. Here, a detailed stepwise demonstration is given to you to make you understand. So far, we have been discussing, but this will make you more clear. The participants can go through this particular demo to understand the remaining nodes also, which we discussed. Here, creating a first flow, which will demonstrate the inject, debug, and function nodes. First, I want to access the editor. How to access the editor? With the Node-Red running, open the editor in the web browser. Yes, we opened it, right? How did we open? If you are using a browser on the same computer that is running Node-Red, you can access it with the URL http localhost 1880, right? You see here, http localhost 1880. Here you can see, right? Yeah. I am pressing enter. Let me close this flows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right. Okay. After that, if you are using a browser on another computer, right, you will need to use the IP address of the computer running Node-Red with 1880. If they are connected on LAN, if Node-Red is available on system 1 and you are on system 5, so system 1 IP address can be used and access the Node-Red software available on system 1, even that is possible. So this is how you access the editor, Node-Red editor. Later, I want to add an inject node. The inject node allows you to inject messages into a flow either by clicking the button on the node or setting a time interval between injects. So if you didn't set any time, you need to click on the button to inject the message. If you set the time, it automatically starts executing. To automate a process only, you are setting the time, right? Fine. And drag one onto the workspace from the palette. So here is the palette, you can see. This is the palette we call it as. Here you can see a lot of nodes available, right? So there are a few other nodes where you need the instruments, the devices to connect and demonstrate, that you'll get to know the upcoming sessions. As of now, we are not using any devices. We are only going with the core nodes. So let us take from the palette a inject node onto the workspace. Right. After taking, select a newly added inject node to see information about its properties and a description of what it does in the information sidebar pane. See, click on it. You can see the properties, right? And you can see the properties, right? And also you can see if you click on here help, the related, the inject node related, the documentation, you can see what it does, what is its importance, right? Fine. So next, add a debug node. What debug node does? The debug node causes any message to be displayed in the debug sidebar. By default, it just displays the payload of the message, but it is possible to display the entire message object. So let us add the debug node also. First here, let me add Right. Done. It looks big, right? No problem. Fine. After that, let me take the debug node also. Here debug node, after adding the debug node, wire the two together. Connect the inject node to the debug node together by dragging between the output port of one to the input port of the other. So let's wire them. Wiring is done. What's the next step? So it's time to deploy, right? At this point, the nodes only exist in the editor, and you must be deploying it to the server to get them effective. So click on the deploy button. With the debug sidebar tab selected, click the inject button. You should see numbers appearing in the sidebar. By default, the inject node uses the number milliseconds. Okay. Right. Let's go deploy. As it's deployed, and I'm clicking on the, let's see, by going to debug messages. Number, it's number, right? Hence you're not getting the, right. Double click, it's timestamp. Timestamp you can see here, right? If you go to the payload as a number, no, sorry, string. When you go to a string, sorry, here actually in name we have given, we should remove it. Not in the name, in the payload we need to give. Name we can give just a message, right? Yeah. Now after making the changes, you just deploy. After deploying, can you see? Hello participants, welcome to the a simple message injected to the inject node, right? So this way we can deploy. Now after deploying, we have seen inject node and the debug node. Now it's time to add a function. Already we have done this, but in detail, stepwise. The function node allows you to pass each message through a JavaScript and delete the existing wire. Okay. How to delete? Select and press delete on the keyboard. Wire a function node in between inject and debug nodes. Double click on the function node to bring up the edit dialog. Copy the following code into the function field. Right. So let's unwire. Then I would like to take a function node. Right. Now let's wire them. Right. Okay. Here, I would like to double click on the function. I would like to write a function. What is the function? Same. Let's write the same function with slight changes. Where date now equal to new date. Where time as string equal to date now dot to local time string, right? Then message dot payload equal to message dot payload as fine to in the session time is. Okay. plus time as string. I would like to make some changes here. Text message. Here is the message. Yes. Fine. Later, this is configured properly, right? Function is given properly, right? Now let's go and deploy. When I click on deploy, it's deployed successfully. I'm clicking on the inject node. You can see, right? Yes. Hello participants, this is time to end the session and the time is 11:27. It's getting displayed, right? Okay, this way we can work with the Node-Red. Hope you enjoyed the session. And any questions? Please go ahead.
So good morning, sir.
Morning, ma'am.
Sir, can you please explain the code that you have written for the function node? Is it a JavaScript?
Yes, madam.
Sir, can you please explain it?
Yes, this one.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, coming to the JavaScript code, date is a function, predefined function from which you're trying to get the date. After getting the date, from date, when you call a function to local time string, so it will get you the time string, only time string. In the earlier example, we were trying to print complete two string, right? When you print two string, it will print the whole. See here, I'm making some changes. Two string I'm saying. Date now is a variable now which contains the whole time. Okay. When you call tool string, the whole date will be converted to the string so that this string will be concatenated with the payload message. And now, after making changes, I am doing done and deploying. When you inject, can you see? Here in the earlier example, we were only able to fetch only time, right? But when you're converting it to only two string, not two local time string, only two string, you're getting the whole day, right? Day of a week, month, date, year, all these things, right? So in order to only get this time, I have been using this particular two local time string. So when you call this function over date now, it will fetch only the time and store into time string. And this time string can be concatenated with my message payload. Message payload, as I already shown you, here is the message payload, right? This is the message payload. What is the message payload containing? Hello participants, right? To this hello participants, I would like to concatenate this particular string along with the time as string variable value, which contains only time this time, right? And finally, after making the necessary changes, I am deploying it again, and you can see the only time, which is taken from the complete date time string. Madam?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Anita said.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay,
Sir,
ma'am.
one more question.
Yeah, please.
Sir, can you please explain what is the application of this in the context of IoT?
That's really great. Interesting question. Coming to the real-time usages, we can go for home automation. Like if we have seen for every 3 seconds, it is printing some messages, right? Likewise, we can automate. Here you can see. Repeat at interval between times. right, at specific time, right, or interval between times. So, for example, if you want to switch on a lamp at evening 6 o'clock and switch off at night 11 o'clock, only during weekdays, then you can configure it here. Okay. Also, camera monitoring. We can monitor the camera by capturing the images from a camera for regular frequent intervals, or we can capture camera images for a moving object also. Likewise, we can automate. So these are the real-time usages. Coming to the Node-Red applications, we can easily automate. Hope you got, madam.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am.
Hello. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, sir.
Participants, if you have any queries, you can ask Mruthyunjaya sir.
Yes. I have
Any queries,
few
participants?
Hello.
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Okay. So thank you very much for this nice presentation. So first of all, and you also answered one of my questions to answering the previous question, right?
Sir,
So
can you speak loud, sir?
oh, louder. Okay. Just a minute.
Yeah.
Is it now all right?
Mruthyunjay's voice
Is
is
it
too
okay?
low. Are you getting, sir? Mruthyunjaya sir, this question?
No, sir. It's like a bit noisy.
Am I
Yes,
audible
yes.
now?
It's echoing, sir.
Is it okay?
A bit loud.
Am I audible?
Yeah, please go ahead, sir.
Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Okay, so actually the question is something like another programming languages, let's say Python, C, C++, right? So
Yeah.
we have some, once we are writing in a particular code, we are basically writing a script or in a
Yes.
particular compiled version of programming, and then we are compiling to make the object file so that we can deploy some another devices, right?
Yes,
So that
yes.
we can encrypt our code. In case
Yeah.
of Node.js, whatever the things we are looking at, that means we can build a GUI model very nicely, very easily, and we can accomplish a particular task for home automation, whatever it is. Fine.
Exactly.
Now my question is, suppose I built an application based on the Node.js, which is reading the data after every 1 second and sending to the cloud. Okay, this is one example.
Yeah.
So that for POC model we can quickly implement by using Node.js. But
Yeah.
finally, when I would like to deploy it for practical applications, that means we don't have these kind of GUI applications. It automatically runs using these cron job and cron types applications, right? So in that case, how we can invoke a particular Node.js application which I built just from a Linux machine, just from this GUI model. It is nobody will be there to run it from the web server, right, or web pages, or from the local host. So how we can automatically start running this particular application at the back end? That's my first question. Am I clear
Okay.
about my question?
Yes. You're clear. See, whatever the model you would like to deploy, whatever the device you would like to connect, you can automate it.
Mhm. But my question is how I can run this application on my computer when the computer will start up. Okay. Something like, suppose it's a normal Python program.
Yes. There are even a few softwares and a few nodes which will run automatically on restarting your computer also.
So what are the techniques? Will you also going to show that particular technique in one of your demonstration session as well in future?
Yeah, definitely. Even that is covered.
Second question is that is there any possibility in Node.js that can I plot the real-time data? Okay, in Python, as you see that PyQt is another module is there where we
Yes.
can plot this real-time data. We can lot of doing some kind of GUIs. Is there any possibility to show some real-time data scrolling on the screen? Okay,
Okay.
by using Node.js, plotting
Uh,
data.
Plotting data is covered or not, we need to go like you need to check with the FDP content. And
No, I'm not asking about FDP content scopes. I'm asking about this. Is it possible in Node.js at all? So that I can learn it from there as well. Because there are lots many widgets you have shown that. Okay. Is there any
yes.
widget for plotting real-time data?
Yes, we can. Weather forecasting, lot of real-time applications we can do. We can
Okay,
push.
but data visualization is also possible.
Data visualization is possible.
Okay.
We can do that.
And when just like Visual C++ or Visual Studio or Visual C++, as you can see, that we are making some GUI buttons and etc. And backend the code is developed. We can download the code, and after that we can modify, we can customize. So it is also possible in Node.js. We can see the raw level codes in the backend which is creating for that. Not only
Uh,
about the functions, some another module as well. Inject module, debug modules, what the code is basically running, what it is developing inside of it. Can I get the source code of it? Is
no,
there any
no, no,
possible?
no. We cannot get any kind of source code for the inject module or such kind of, but the customization code is available, like where you can customize and push a lot of other content, the type of messages, and get your job done. That way you can
Okay.
do.
Okay. And what is the way of encrypting my design?
Encrypting design is also possible.
That you are designing that, okay, I am taking 10 different blocks and these blocks are connected one after another one and individual functions are doing some kind of JavaScript programming. I want to hide all these things for practical deployment issues. Are you
Uh,
understanding why I'm asking
yes,
this
yes,
question?
yes, yes, yes. Lot of abstraction is possible here, and you can encrypt the complete model. There are a lot of complex models where a lot of nodes are involved and a complex connections are set. So inner functionality can be encrypted.
And is it possible to call any external C or Python module from the JavaScript as well from Node.js?
Yes, yes, it's possible.
Are you also going to show this in any one of your demonstration session for that?
Sure, if an opportunity is given, definitely I'll show.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Sujay Mandal.
Thank you, thanks a lot.
That's a great interaction.
Yeah. Any queries, participants? Okay, thank you, sir. It's privilege to propose vote of thanks to Mr. Mruthyunjaya, sir. Sir explained concepts like how Node-Red works and also explained change nodes, switch nodes, how to inject values to the nodes. Thank you very much, sir, for your valuable time. In future also, we'll utilize your services, sir, with your permission. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Krishna sir, for giving me a wonderful opportunity to share my knowledge. Thank you, sir. Thank
Thank
you
you.
all. Thank you all
Thank you, sir.
participants.
Yeah. Participants, next we have a session on stress management by Jayalakshmi, madam. So wait for 5 minutes, take 5 minutes break and come back here. I will start the session at 11:45. Please join on time. Thank you.
The status of deemed university. 2 glorious decades of academic excellence. Vaagdevi, the temple of learning. UGC autonomous, 30,000 plus students, 42 plus colleges, 3,000 plus teaching staff, 6 plus campuses with world-class infrastructure, 50 plus professional courses in academics and research, 20,000 plus alumni spread across the globe, MBA accreditation, MOU with foreign universities, strong industry focus and outstanding campus placements. Ranked among the top colleges in Telangana, recognized by IBM as one of the top 30 colleges in India, creating global professionals. Vaagdevi Group of Colleges, Warangal.